Hi, I've been playing with the idea of maybe doing some weekly reflection videos or something like that. So this is a try to do that, and we'll see how it works. And yeah, this comes from inspiration from others, where I just feel that there's so much, so much interesting topics I would like to talk about, but getting the time to write is not always the top priority. So maybe just recording and seeing how that goes. And today, I was thinking about talking maybe something entrepreneurial related or startup related, but then I realized, now we're in this very peculiar situation where this week was the 30th anniversary of the Berlin Wall falling down, being torn down. And yeah, that's a personal thing for me because, as most of you know, I'm born in East Berlin. So my family, we were part of that event, and without that happening, I would never have moved to Sweden, or my family would never have moved to Sweden. So that's a very interesting thing to do. And my parents actually had a celebration to that. A Mauerfest, so they invited the people they lived with, because they live in a shared housing, to kind of celebrate that 30 years since the wall came down. And it's really interesting. And we had, of course, a lot of discussions regarding how was it and what actually happened, and how much of a surprise it actually was for everybody, because it wasn't really planned. It was more or less an accident that it happened, and both an accident that they actually opened the borders, and that it actually would lead to East Germany no longer existing wasn't really something most people expected. They were more expecting to maybe being part of or being able to travel, or being able to be part of Europe in a better way, but to actually having a unification wasn't really something which most in East Germany expected, as far as I understand it. But it's also very interesting just from a kind of like the society perspective, and how was it to live under communism. And one of the interesting things there, for example, is that money had a different role in East Germany than it had in West Germany, and that it has in our society. We live in this very capitalistic society, and I think most of us don't really realize how capitalistic it is, because we just take money for granted. Everything we do kind of can be converted to money. You want to sell something, of course that has a worth, a price tag. But also, if you want to do something, you can kind of always convert it to money. Okay, if I would do this instead, what could I get paid? Or if I would pay somebody to do this, what would that cost? And this is really different to how it was there, because in that society, money was kind of worthless. And not because you could not use it to buy things. Of course you could use it to buy things, but it was just that there wasn't so much produced. So even if you wanted to buy things, they might not exist. In our society now, money has value because we actually can buy things. If we wouldn't be able to buy things, it would also not have that much value. And that's a little bit how it was in East Germany. So we have this situation where money exists, but having more money does not automatically make it so that you can buy more stuff. You can still only buy the same stuff everybody else can buy. It's not really a big difference. So having more of it isn't really that useful. It was actually very interesting as well. My parents told about buying a car, for example, in East Germany, where you paid more to buy a used car than buying a new car. And that sounds really strange in our daily society now. Why would you pay more for a used car than for a new car? But the difference was that a used car you could actually get. If you bought a used car, you had a used car. But if you wanted to buy a new car, you needed to wait. And there were only this many cars being made, and if there weren't enough being made, you couldn't get a new car, even if you paid for it. So this is something really, it's really interesting. It's kind of a little bit of a mind trick to think, oh wait, there's this other way of seeing at things. And I've experienced moneyless societies as well through the Burning Man community and the Burning Man events. And it's really interesting how that also affects you. And the thing is that it's not that if you take away money, everything suddenly becomes good or easy or so. It's just different. Money is this arbitrary value, which in one way makes some things really easy. It makes it really easy to kind of compare things. It makes it easy to make decisions regarding certain things. But it also makes everything numbers. And I don't know if that always is good. There's a lot of things which maybe isn't so good to convert to numbers. So yeah, that's an interesting reflection I take with me from both the celebrations and from life in general in that sense. Like, we're very good at putting numbers on things, but what about all those things we maybe don't want to put numbers on or shouldn't put numbers on? Yeah, that's all for me. Thanks for listening.